I can do it myself, and obviously we have chat to do it as well. So anyways, for those that were not here for the last stream, I started building a new app. That app is z.t3.gg. It is an app for Q&As. Ideally, like, I built it for streamers. Something I can do is on my desktop, get that embed URL and put it on my stream quick. So I'm going to actually add that to my overlays layer so that whenever my overlays are visible, this should be as well. Call this z.t3. Paste that. See how it looks quick. New question 2. I'm trying to find a good place to put it. I think here is fine. I think I want to, yeah, the res is fine. Say that all looks good. It isn't visible in the screen. Oh, do I have the overlay off? Yeah, I do. Cool. So now when I make a question visible or invisible, it will appear and disappear on my stream. That's not actually on my screen right now. If I switch views, it's still there. And that's coming from the web app. Really proud of this one. Hacked it together super fast. I built all of the tech for it on stream Wednesday, but I just like last night really, hacked on it a bunch more because I had little things I didn't get to on stream and I wanted it to look better. So now it looks better. And now I want to show you guys the code, show you some of the cool things I built, and talk more about it. Yeah, it's live. z.t3.gg. Theoretically, anybody can sign in with their Twitch account and use it. And I can even share my Q&A URL, which I made a lot less ugly. And now y'all can go there to ask me questions. If I set it up correctly, it should actually live update with the questions when you make them. Look at that. Questions coming through. And if I pick one here, it'll be visible on the stream. It's actually useful. That's a good one. We really need to figure out ping merch soon. If there's reverb, that's my mic echoing. Should be better now. Sorry about that. My headphones are turned up too loud. I should switch back to the closed back, so it's not comfortable. Did I end up using Pusher? That's actually a very fun question. Of course, there's emoji support. They're going to look weird on Windows, but that's always the case. Yeah, the archive button somebody asked, it deletes things. And it's super fast, of course. See how fast I just archived everybody's stuff? Flying. Yeah, proud of this one. We'll show y'all how I did all these little pieces. But one of those pieces that we're going to talk about is the WebSocket stuff. There are multiple levels of how I overhauled all the WebSocket stuff, but there's a lot to talk about there. So I will start by going into, there was one commit that I should have made a PR for and didn't because I was rushing. It is abstract pusher. So in this commit, this is like the worst view to show something on stream. And I hide that, that'll make it better. Okay. So previously I had this one awful hook, this use latest pusher message that would create a pusher client in a memo, which was erroneously running on server. So I had a bunch of servers defining WebSocket connections that shouldn't have been happening. I had this use effect that would do most of the busy work. It would subscribe to the channel. It would bind the event or 2 events to the channel and then unsubscribe one of them because I forgot to unsubscribe unpinned. So I did a great job with that one, as y'all can see. And I used this one hook here, returned null if there was no message, and returned this weird little UI with the message in it when there was. So the first thing I did is I made it lazy because I don't want to ever bind the pusher stuff on server. I want to bind it on the client. So by doing this and not connecting to pusher until in this embed view, I have now prevented the server from making a connection that it shouldn't be. And then in here, I have the actual pusher client. This one I did in 3 pieces. I expected to need to bind more things here. I didn't yet, but in the future, when I make some additional changes, I think y'all will understand why I did it this way. Section 1, the store. This takes all of the things I was doing before, in particular, the subscription or the creation of the client and the subscription to the channel, and it puts it all in one place. I create a store as soon as this is called. So the create pusher store creates a pusher instance with the correct cluster and my key. It subscribes to the channel that you pass it, and then it makes a vanilla Zustand store with those things. I use a vanilla store because in the future I could see me using this for other things, and I often will inline bind additional stuff here. Probably do this on stream later so you guys can see that. And then I return the React Zustand create, which is the Zustand React binding for a Zustand store. Section 2 is where I create a context, which is a bit of a weird thing if you know about Zustand, but it's like, oh, why do you use context? Isn't Zustand an alternative to context? Can be, doesn't have to be. I specifically choose to create the store through a context so I can relate the React DOM to the state directly. I was arbitrarily binding this shit prior, and here I now only create the context and I only create that Zustand store. And as such, I only create a connection when I create this context and mount it in my React DOM. Welcome to dependency injection, the stream. Good joke. So here is where I actually return that pusher provider. So as long as you mount this, you have the Zustand pusher store that makes the connection, makes the subscription, does all of those things. Doesn't clean up yet. It'll be annoying, but we can do that in the future. And then the hook. This is the important piece. I once again had to roll my own use event, or official React hook coming soon. Can't wait. But for now, you subscribe to event, gets an event name and a callback. It grabs the channel from the store. It creates a stable callback reference. In here, I call that stable callback, or I bind that reference to the callback in an effect if it ever changes. And I do this here so that I never, ever have to unbind if I don't need to. This is a problem that I have with how even use callback works in React. Use callback assumes that you want the reference to change when the contents of the function change, or you redefine that in line. I think that is really bad. When I mount the use subscribe to event hook and the string doesn't change, I don't want to rebind this. I might want that rebinding to touch a different functionality, but I don't want the binding to go away. So by doing the binding against a reference with the event name, I don't have to worry about accidentally unbinding and rebinding anymore. And I also have to create a reference here, because if I just bind to stable callback.current, stable callback.current is the thing that can change. So in here, I am binding to reference, which calls stable callback.current, which now is able to change. So yeah, annoying, but it's necessary. And somebody in chat just mentioned that this pattern comes from Dan Abramov. Wrong button. That is not what I was looking for. There's an actual GitHub discussion on it. Maybe it's linked in here. I'm not paying for Medium. Here. So Dan Abramov actually published in May a summary of the use event proposal, which you can see here is exactly what I wrote. 1 second, I need some water. So this is the same thing that is described here, making declarative set interval type stuff. It's the thing that React doesn't do because they assume everything needs to go through the life cycle. And these are things that don't need to go through the life cycle. Use event is a way to opt out of life cycle trigger update or triggering life cycle updates to a binding. as long as you expect that binding to be consistent. Like it's a trade-off. Yeah, it's a cool proposal. Really happy this will exist. If I had this, then I would have been able to delete both of these and make a much simpler channel.bind. But since I don't have that, that is not an option. Soon. TM. I also saw a question that I've been seeing a lot that I want to go fix. So I'm going to go do that quick. Going to make it a point to update the FAQ on stream more. PT3 Astro. I'm using PMPM for this. Make sure I'm on the latest. FAQ. And I'm gonna what is the code? Exclamation point G. Thing Theo keeps typing in searches. Duck, duck, go, bangs. Let me go grab the link. Get status. Oh. Make sure that looks okay. Cool. Cool. Hope that answers your question. Why do I use DuckDuckGo if I'm going to use the bangs anyways? Anybody else got a dumb question for me before I close the project? Sure, there's at least one or two more in here. My laptop's dying, so I'm gonna plug that in. Oh no, my Elgato's being weird. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Hopefully plugging in my laptop doesn't cause a ground loop. It does that sometimes, but we seem to be good at the moment. Y'all are pretty bad at asking dumb questions. Come on. There are no dumb questions. No, dumb questions are my favorite. I genuinely love dumb questions. These are more annoying questions. Do I dye my hair? No. It naturally is half blonde and half brown. That just happens magically by itself. No dye. Anyways, Zapdos stuff. Because I built more than just that one change. One of the other changes I made that turned out to not be that bad and actually be quite fun is I moved to TRPC v10. And the syntax is so much nicer. It's let me find a good example. Yeah, here. New question router. Submit. T.procedure.input has this thing. Mutation does the mutation. Done. Get all. Protected procedure, which is a custom procedure that is protected so that I know it has auth on it. So I know context session user ID exists. I don't have to check it. This would have failed earlier otherwise. And I have the session. I have the ability to order by whatever else I want to do in Prisma, and I return the type safe result. It's super simple. Then pin, just as simple. Protected procedure, dot input, give it a custom input, dot mutation, grab the thing from Prisma, none of this code changed, and I'm done. What I should be checking here is that it's your question. I guess it can't push to, it would, theoretically, you could pin someone else's question to your session because it sends the message to your session ID. You wouldn't be able to pin to someone else's session. So I guess that's a problem, but it's not a big deal. And then I create the context here, pretty much the same. One of the cool things I did, though, it was one of the commits. If I go back to the TRPC v10 interop, ignore the errors. Those were funny enough a bug in the TRPC TypeScript where it was failing no unchecked indexes. But in this PR, I actually got the whole thing working with interop. So I didn't rewrite the router. I created a new router. Well, actually, I created an old school router. Create router.merge the old question router dot interop, which tells TRPC, hey, make this v9 router work with v10. And then I created a t.router, which is the new style of router. It's the greeting test router. And then I merged that with the legacy router. And all of the code still worked exactly how it used to. So I was able to move over without any changes, which was super cool. Anyways, let's look at some of the things that I did that were awful. This was mostly just me making things less ugly. Oh, I already mentioned the mistake I made where I was binding the Prisma client or the pusher WebSocket client on the server. So I was making hundreds of connections I shouldn't have been making, which was very bad and no longer is happening. One other cool thing I did, the PR here is not going to be super impressive. I moved the pusher backend from pusher to sockety. So it's still pusher client on the client side. Sockety, though, is a open source alternative to pusher's server. So you still connect with the pusher client, but you host your own backend. And the performance is nuts. The famous blazingly fast. They have it discussed a bit here. They use, I forgot, I think it's called uWebsocket.js, which is written in C. And they built a binding layer to it in Node so that they can use Node.js's scheduler and C's like network management. It's insanely fast. It distributes across 1,000 users on a 200 meg or 200 I don't know what they're using for that unit, but 200 megs of RAM in a tiny CPU on AWS. They used like a $5 AWS tier to test everything, and the benchmarks were insane compared to alternatives. It was, yeah, an AWS T3 instance. They were able to get some very, very crazy numbers. Even the ARM version was able to do some nut stuff. So I'm hosting this, of course, on Railway. And in the ZT3GG, I still have the Postgres DB here, but I also have this new WebSocket backend that is just the sockety instance. And we just had a bunch of people spamming the, what's it called? The like endpoint there. We had a lot of people hitting that at once. And you can see here, we barely broke 10% CPU utilization on the free tier on Railway. Like, we're good. Who just said I deleted their comment? I have never once deleted a comment on YouTube. I have reported a few for spam, but they were like the egregious, like real online naked type bullshit. I have never once deleted a comment on my YouTube channel. YouTube might have deleted it, but stop accusing YouTubers of deleting things. They don't. I certainly don't. I have never in my life deleted a YouTube comment. I've been tempted twice, maybe, and I didn't do it. Don't stop blaming me for this shit, guys. Anyways, here's our whole back end now, other than, of course, the Next.js on Vercel. I'm actually pretty pumped because this is one of the few things I am running in production right now that doesn't have a third-party service that it relies on. Beyond that, like Railway is hosting my instances, but it's like I could theoretically put these somewhere else. It would just be more work, but I'm not, how do I put it? I'm not paying somebody else for a service right now. I'm paying Railway for servers. I'm not even paying them yet. It's still in the free tier. And on Vercel, also still within the free tier, rather than the things I normally use, like a pusher to provide the WebSockets. How many views to break it? Let's see. What I should do, actually, this is something I wanted to do on stream. I'll code a bit. I want to add presence. I'm putting this one right at the top because it's important. Why are you deleting my YouTube comments? I forgot to tag these other ones. I got the t3.gg domain forever ago. It's been my domain for 4-ish years now. So I don't, yeah, I paid the normal price. Nobody else had it. It wasn't like a cool name at the time. Nobody cared. Now I have that all done. Let's build presence. So what I want to do is detect how many people are currently on the question page and display that on the homepage. Shouldn't be too hard. Only annoying part's going to be that the homepage doesn't have access to Pusher until the questions right now because I mounted that in the question view. So that will be a tiny bit annoying, but we can work around that. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to display it in the question view for now. We have the use subscribe to event. The first thing I'm going to have to do is make this Pusher store publish presence. So let's Google search Pusher. I'm hopeful that we still have Pusher presence support on Sockety. Should work. Okay, it has to be prefixed with presence. I remember that rule. Wait, how is this working if I... Oh, I guess it's not private. Yeah, cool. So what I will do first is publish presence. Do I want this to be Boolean or a string? Depends on... Yeah, I'll just do Boolean for now. We'll make it a string if we have things we want to pass it. Actually, yeah, I do. No, overthinking. We'll do it the simple way for now. Cool. So we have that. We create the Pusher client. I want this to include... That's actually here. Publish presence Boolean. And here I want the presence, like, info. which is members. So members, and what is the type of this? Let me just get that for now. Channel, I'll call it any as I figure this all out. Empty array, call it any array. And I want to const presence channel equals pusher client dot subscribe. Oh, perfect. And I want to make this a presence channel. So pusher, wonder if there's a, there is, nice. Should probably make that on here too. And here's where the real magic happens. If I did this right, new or presence channel dot bind. How do I actually get updates? What I'm looking for is an easy way to get all of the events. I'll just bind the, I need to get the type off that though. So we'll do pusher. We'll start with a pusher subscription succeeded event. Let's see if this gives me the correct types. Message. It does not. Go to definition. I want a type def. I want to see what they give me here. What I really want is, instead of a pusher event, a presence event. I don't know if they have those or not in the library. Presence channel data, that sounds promising. Nope. That's way lamer than I was expecting. Annoying. I guess those are the dot members, so I could grab that instead of caring what the message is here. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, const update members equals vanilla create, or no, it's new store dot set state members presence channel dot members. That needs to be wrapped in that. Nope. Off by one. No. What is the type of dot members then? Dot members? God, I don't know what that is, so we'll assume that worked. I'm just going to console log this a whole bunch. Console.log members. What was the other event that I wanted to bind this on? It was subscription succeeded. Probably want to do member added and member removed as well. Sorry, just checking things on my other computer. I have so much shit open and even more than I'm supposed to be doing. Cool. Analytics. No, I don't want this. I want the live view YouTube. Come on. I also didn't have YouTube chat open until just now. Sorry, y'all. Cool. I need to make my chat visible again. One sec. Chat. There we go. Now I can see chat on my main computer again. My bad on that. So here I have all of these update functions where when any of these events occur, it will update the state with the members and set those in the Zustan store and log it because I want to know what happens when those occur. The important piece to note here is that this all happens outside of React. None of this is React code. Once we return the React Zustan store, now it's bound to React and we can do whatever we want from there. But by default, it is entirely React free. And I went out of my way for that because React is not the place where you should handle all this async bullshit. You should do that externally. And then in React, subscribe to the events that you need to subscribe to. So from here, I'm going to just compress all these. I actually don't need to do this anonymous function. I can just update members. Cool. What are the differences between Pusher and Socket.io? What are the differences between Vercel and AWS? Okay, now I have all of that. Let's get the presence publishing going. Is there an example of publish? Or is subscribing also publishing you? I think it just auto publishes as well. Good to know. Let's see what happens when I do this locally. Probably not running it yet. npm run dev. Yo, thank you, Trash, for the sub. I will give all of the subs thanks momentarily. I really want to see if this is working or not. Error, unable to retrieve auth string. Ugh. I thought I was going to have to do this. I'm annoyed, though. Yep, we have to do auth in quotes because their auth is weird, and I'm probably not going to follow the rules for it. Authorized connections. Authenticating users. I'm going to see if Pusher can carry me here. Or our good friend Copilot can carry me here. Export default function Pusher auth. Endpoint. I think it's just this part I care about. Yeah, it's just that part I care about. Cool. I already have the Pusher client defined somewhere else. Let me grab that guy quick. I just fucking leaked my environment variables again. Are you fucking kidding? Back in a minute. App's gonna be down for a sec, guys. I am sorry. Oh, I have fucking hit Twitch too. That sucks. Can somebody link me that stupid VS Code extension that hides my environment variables? I fucking need it, I guess. I'm dumb and I'm pissed off now. Okay, that all seems to be done. God fucking damn it, I'm so mad. Let's see if it works. I'm testing not screen sharing. It does not appear to work. Yeah, I hate how this does this, but it will make it less likely for me to leak things now that I have it turned on. Whatever. I'm pissed off. That's so dumb. Anyways, hopefully this is working again. Error authorizing against endpoint. Oh, that's the old auth error. The other stuff still seems to be working fine. I have to redeploy on Vercel probably. I'll do that quick. Settings, deployments, redeploy. Anyways, I need to grab from in server router subroutes this pusher creation thing. I think that's the only thing that needs the environment too. So I will yoink these guys, pusher server client. I guess it's already in server pusher. Cool. Now I have that there, and I can have it here. I guess that's just the ID that's passed from the client. That's fine. Next API request. Next API response. That should just work now, right? Nope. Oh, I didn't put that endpoint in the client config here. auth endpoint slash API slash pusher auth. Invalid auth response. Cool. At least it's trying now. Expected channel data field. Okay, that's a start. Authorized connections. Aha. Forgot authenticating and authorizing users are different in Pusher, and it's really dumb. Pusher authenticate user. Yeah, I hate this. Authenticate is how you create a user, and then authorize is how you give them access to a channel. And they're separate and they're dumb. URL encoded, socket ID. Here's the thing I'm doing, and I need to do this separately. User authentication endpoint. Okay, yeah, this is the thing I need to do separately. So pusher slash auth user. We're going to make a separate auth channel. I think this is the auth channel, actually. So I'm going to rename this one. And this needs to be auth user. Or do I not need that? And I just need to export, get that to go away. I am going to dig in a bit more on why this is failing and see if I can give it the thing it's asking for instead. It wants channel data. Is that an option on this endpoint? Yeah. Okay. Will that do it? Nope. Client must be authenticated. Yeah, so I do need to auth them separately. Export default function pusher auth user. And it's just copying from the other file. I'll start there. And it's not authorized channel, it's wait, why is the user authentication authenticating users? Authenticate user, there we go. And what is user here? Oh. Needs an ID, that's dumb. Cool. We'll see if that works for now. Channel name's not going to exist on this endpoint. And this is the one that we use. How do I configure? That's all I need to do for now. Pusher. It needs transport. Cool. And this needs to be API pusher auth channel and API pusher auth user. No more errors. That means we're connected with presence, theoretically. And if I was to open up an embed, we should see an update from the new thing joining. Oh, we won't because the IDs are going to be the same. We can fix that pretty easily, though. What is this mad about? Okay, I have a solution to that annoying problem. So what's happening now is we need IDs of some form, and we don't have IDs of any form. So I need to find a dumb way to create one. What I'm going to do for now is headers, user ID, temp ID plus math dot random dot to fixed 7. Cool. That'll generate random enough shit to use as IDs. And then up here, I should be able to grab, no, it's header. I need that on the body then. No. Okay. Oh, it's params. That should work. I guess I could grab things off headers. That just comes through on the auth user though, right? Yeah, I'll grab it off headers. That sounds like the right thing to do. Headers const user ID equals request dot headers. If or type of user ID not equal string, res.send. Good enough for now. Otherwise, we do this and we'll use the user ID. Asked. Theoretically, I can do the same here. Don't save. Does auth have headers? And if this all worked, I should now be able to grab the temp ID or the user ID off the header here. Request.header. Should do that same fail here. Cool. And if I did that all right, these should now authorize with different users. And I'm almost tempted to spin up or switch back to actual pusher for a tiny bit so that I can see if it's working there and use their debug tools, because using this without my own debug tools is really annoying. Oh, I know what I can do. Ready for a really dirty trick that y'all should never ever do, but if you need to, it's a lifesaver. Cool. No members. Me is back as null. My ID. That part worked fine. Cool. I'm gonna kick out my cat quick. One sec. Everybody who's saying that that's cursed has never had to debug something more cursed. Like, the amount that that saves me in terms of effort to not have to, like, think about that shit is hilarious. I'm just pulling back my hair. It's annoying me. Who needs unit tests when you can bind things to window? Okay. Am I not publishing to this, right? Members.me. Okay, I'm going to do two things quick. The first one is I'm going to turn off the log to console because it's annoying me. And the second is I'm going to log a ton. Wanted to log a ton when that happened? I guess with the other logs deleted, it should be pretty visible if that happens. Doesn't look like that happens. Cool. Subscription succeeded function. Yeah, two things. Let me see what I'm getting back here. Console.log server contents, channel name, socket ID, user ID. Let's see what we're seeing when I refresh. Hasn't user, bunch of nonsense. Server contents, socket ID is this thing, temp ID is that thing. Cool. Let's make sure I'm getting the right stuff on the other call too to make sure I'm authorizing correct. Does not appear as though auth user is being hit. Oh, oh, that's dumb if that's the case. Cool. That's auth window dot presence channel dot me. Me is still null. Does sockety have presence? Okay, so it seems like they have presence built in and theoretically working. So why am I not? It seems like the subscribe just doesn't happen. I get the attempt, right? Presence user, yeah. I do with that ID and everything, yeah. I request the authorization and it theoretically happens there. So why do I get nothing back? Anyone got any ideas on this one? I'm a little more stumped than I would have expected. I'm what I'm looking for is like a presence.publish, basically. I'm assuming what's wrong is I'm not getting anything back. So present or window.presence channel dot anything is empty right now. I have two things connected that didn't error. Auth user responded with a 404. What? Is that all it was? No, me still coming back null here. Dot members. Yeah, still an empty object. Both of these should theoretically be publishing, and neither are. Come on. Member added. Also, I'm not giving enough data, and as such, it's not. Or am I still passing empty object for one of these? I'm not. Okay, what is it mad about? Okay, what else can be in here then? User info? Maybe I have to put that. Does not appear to have done anything. Yeah, great. I'm not adding stuff to me and members. They are. Theoretically, if this subscription worked, I would have presence channel dot members updating. The subscription succeeded doesn't appear to be happening though. We'd get some console log if it did. I don't really think an example is going to help me here with presence. Members each. Yeah, the channel dot bind push subscription succeed is never firing is my problem right now. Because it doesn't appear to be connecting successfully. Pusher, we're not actually using Pusher, we're using Sockety. I'm hosting it myself. What I could do is disable this, update my or my secret and stuff, and try that. Does the key need to be ID instead of user ID? For which key specifically? Because these have to be these two. Those aren't even other options. Like if I remove this, it errors for me. Haha. This is event handler not implemented. Interesting. That appears to be the problem. Might have to go back to real pusher. Fuck. Uh, huh. Spaghetti default app enable client messages. Yeah, I am like, what is the event that like? Oh, it's the sign in column making. That's why it doesn't like that, which is fine. I don't technically need to sign in for this to work. Cool. Hopefully that will stop throwing that error and we might get something different. Okay, the sign in isn't implemented. That's fine, but the other stuff should be coming through by now. What the fuck? Clients on Vercel, everything else is Railway. Auth response pusher authorized channel for presence channel. Okay, I've done everything right here. Does it give a list of all the different like built-in event types anywhere? It says pusher subscription succeeded in subscription error. Cool. Hopefully we'll get something from those. Auth error, unauthorized. Fucking Christ. Okay, and if I do the sign in, does that just fail? Trying to decide if I just go back to actual pusher or not. This is the client calling the server to receive the token. The problem is that the sign-in attempt fails. Is there another authorize method that only touches my server, not the pusher one? Let's see, user authentication. Okay, let's pusher client.bind. No. Is this push error? Will we get a real error from that? Nope. Cool. So the sign-in doesn't appear to be causing an error. Will it? Neither happen. Okay, that's a good sign. This should be simple. Maybe if I set this to null, it'll work. Nope. Okay, I'm just fucked. Great. Yeah, this is annoying. I'm gonna try swapping back to real pusher for a second. Gonna have to hide so I can not leak again. This is what I get for trying to live code again. I had all the like hard parts set up. I thought I was done. Almost done. One sec, guys. It's the key. It's annoying. Hide that. Hide this file. I'm gonna turn on cloak again. Okay, that's hilarious. Ones that are commented out, it still shows. So this is actually fucking useless. Great. That Chrome extension is terrible. Not Chrome extension, VS Code extension. Somebody can make a real hide extension. That'd make my life a lot easier. But in here, I'm going to comment that guy out. I guess I can comment all those out. Theoretically now, I'm going to have to restart the dev environment too. because those are new environment variables. Should probably turn the logs back on too. WebSocket error, not in the cluster. I forgot to put the cluster, yeah. Cool. Members, count 2. Look at that. Switched over there and we're fine. I guess I'm stuck on real pusher. That sucks. That sucks really hard, actually. Yeah, look at that. All the members appearing. We did it. Yay. That's annoying. If I show... Oh, I didn't change the back end of it. That's annoying. I have my other pusher client here. Yeah, we can... Now I should be able to, again, make those work. Yay. Okay. And theoretically, I should now also be able to go to the pusher dashboard. And I should be able to go to here and see in the debug console. I can see in here which channel I was connecting to, right? Wait, do they not have a way for me to look at a specific... That's really dumb. I'm too used to Ably. Way too used to Ably, where I can just look at the presence for a channel in here. This just gives me events. Okay, I guess that works. Well, if I kill this, did I start getting all these logs I was looking for? Yeah, I'm getting all these members logs I wanted before. Which means members should now be updated. Why is it an object? Oh, God, it's funny because my video about not using objects just went up. And you know, it's not even an array. It's just that. And I'll bind it as empty object as the default here. And then in the update, that should work. And I can unbind these now. I can unbind these now. I'm a little confused about how there's 4 connections, but I won't overthink it. We will add now in the UI the currently connected state. So I'm currently not exposing that in a hook. I just expose you subscribe to event. So we're going to expose export const use current member count equals We'll just call it directly. This is where the magic of Zestand comes really in handy. We have the current state, and we have members on it. But I don't want to return this. I want the count. And I also don't want every time that set gets called to update my whole React app or whatever is calling this. So what I'm going to do here is turn this into a count, which since it's an object, it's not that easy. Object.keys.length. And now, as long as this number doesn't change, this hook won't trigger an update. So if I go in here, do const current count or connection, or let's call it connection count equals use current member count. I'm gonna have to import that. Now I can render that in the UI. Div connections. And that number will be there. And even if these members are changing in the background, which right now they won't be because theoretically nobody else is connecting or disconnecting. But like if other things were changing in that, causing the state machine to update, as long as the number doesn't change, no re-renders are occurring. So there you saw like 5 new events came through when I refreshed that. If we wanted to prevent that, or the number of connections went down actually. I know what I'm doing. I'm not cleaning up. I'll fix that later. So here though, I specifically can show that this update isn't happening by console.log we're re-rendering. And what we should see here is a couple re-renders, but only like one per group of member events. That one re-rendered way more than it probably should have. That's a little concerning. I wonder what's causing that re-render. Oh, I know what's causing the re-render. It's me switching tabs. Fucking Christ, that's gonna skew the results here really bad. Let me unfull screen. Pull this open in another tab here, and we'll see we only get one re-render per group. The grayed out one is just React DevTools doing its thing in the background. But even though like theoretically multiple things are happening here, we only get one re-render for the count going down and up for each one it goes down and up. Specifically because the Zestand prevents every update from triggering a render. It only sends the update when the data is changed when you use the selections. Super powerful. This number should be -1, but it also looks like I'm effectively connecting twice right now somehow. I don't think I could be doing that. What would cause that to connect twice? I wonder if I kill this, will it still work? Okay, I'm getting 2 connections per right now. Why is that? These are all different IDs as well. Is it rendering on server still? Or is this React doing the stupid run twice thing? It's one easy way to check. Console.log. Was this done twice? Nope, that's only running once. So theoretically, we should only be publishing once. Because none of this code runs again. Pusher client.subscribe, presence, slug, as well as subscribing to the slug directly. If I don't subscribe to that, I do wonder if there's just one that's stuck right now. Window dot presence channel dot members dot me. Yeah, it does look like this 7.4 one might just be stuck. Nope, it's a different one this time. Fascinating. I'm gonna kill the logs in the server auth part. Because it looks like a erroneous connection is being made. And I have no idea how. Okay, so the 581, the one that's this or not? Let's see. It is not. Where is this other temp user ID thing coming from? Do I really not have this open somewhere else? I am so confused. I have no idea where the second connection is coming from. The fuck? I'm avoiding the React doing things twice thing by not using React to do things. Very easy. Yeah, I'm so confused. Because like that had to come from something on my side. Let me log when this ID is created. Okay, so this is the 861. Window.presence channel.members.me. Interesting. Me is different from the one I created at the start. What the fuck? I'm not creating another anywhere else. I can't be. This is the only code that ever calls the pusher client creation. And there's no other way for an ID like that to be generated. Guys, you're missing the very like obviously wrong thing. This guy is the ID that I'm connecting with. It ends in 344. You see that member joined, but then another member appears. When I type in window.presencechannel.members.me for myself, my ID right here is different from the ID I used here. The members in the room are the ID I started with up here, which is the 3441, and the ID it thinks is me, which is this 3301. There are two different IDs here. I connected with this one. It's still here, but the one that is me is something else. It's still using the same format for the ID, which means that it's mine. It's not two tabs. Y'all, are you guys fucking brain dead? I connect with one ID and .me is a different ID. Are you listening? For those in the back, having another tab does not change what .me is bound to. I'm ignoring chat. Y'all are more useless than usual. Push or subscribe. Push or subscribe. Data off. Jada. Bullshit. Presence user. Cool. YouTube chat's being even worse right now. Great. Okay, y'all seem to be confused about what just happened. Let's rewind a second. I was very explicit about the ID I'm passing and me not being related. I clarified that 3 separate times, and chat continued saying, "Are you sure it's not 2 tabs?" So I got angry. I'm sorry. I get angry sometimes. Everyone gets angry. If y'all want to learn something from this, actually a good lesson. If somebody's frustrated and they're expressing something, don't ignore the thing that they're expressing just because they're angry. It's actually worse if you do, because you'll piss them off more. Cool. So let's Google search pusher client connecting twice presence. Is there any other place where pusher's being used right now that could be the problem? Case sensitive search. I need to ignore node modules. Filter, exclude node modules. This is very hard to read when it's this small. Yeah, it's just this file. And then the server side where I create that. My questions where I mount that. Browser embed view where I mount that. There's nowhere else for this to go. You can fuck off, Ethan, on YouTube. Being here's a privilege, and I'm glad to take it away. Yeah, I'm so fucking confused on this one. I wonder if it's something really stupid like the TLS flags or something being on. What if I just fuck up the public channel name quick? Just add some random shit to it. See if that's possibly where the second one's coming from. Nope. What the shit? It's almost like the back end is behind one call or something. That's what it feels like, is the auth. Actually, let's check that if that's the case. Let's see. That'd be hilarious. So the ID this time was the 935. Nope, both are different this time. It's 030 and 659. And those are both different again. Pusher isn't counting subscription. That's actually a good question. Pusher isn't counting the number of subscriptions, it's counting the number of members on the presence channel. So the place that I'm getting that number from is very specifically the. Oh, where did I bind it? I create the presence channel here where I pusher client.subscribe to presence as presence channel, and then I bind that to window. So this is separate from the channel subscription that I do here. Like these are different subscriptions. Theoretically, this one should not be affected by this one at all. I can comment that out, and for now, this is going to break a bit, but whatever. And we'll still get the 2 because that's not the cause. A really good question though, because that could have been it, and it's not. The really strange thing here is I only ever call this temp ID generation thing here once. It is right here. This is the only place where temp-id exists in the code base. So it has to be coming from here because both these IDs have that signature. But it's confusing because this is only like used once and the IDs passed to both of these are the same. And I'm not even doing the sign in. I wonder if I just kill that. Same deal. Very interesting. I'd be very surprised if this was hot reloads giving me a hard time. It is possible that the React DevTools backend is running this a second time. We can, there's a easy-ish fix. npm run build. Yep. Fucking Christ. React DevTools runs your code in the background. So there's 2 instances of it running. It wasn't reload dev server. The dev server was not the problem. It's React DevTools was the problems. Specifically, React DevTools is broken. Watch. I'm going to remove this extension. Oh, I guess it still runs DevTools even if you don't have the extension. there an easy way to disable that? This isn't the React 18 concurrency feature, guys. This is the code running twice. I think I have to reset that. Oh, I guess it is. What the fuck? I thought that strict mode ran things twice in the same instance. It's the problem here isn't that it's running things twice, it's that it's running them outside of the main event loop. There's a second runtime running the code twice. React, why? Uh, the giveaway that I should have noticed was that the ID here and here are different. I'm stupid for not noticing that. Yeah, I'm gonna go back a sec to say whoever said it was another tab, you're still fucking brain dead. Chat has been screaming React backend. I didn't know what they meant. That was my bad. I should have clarified. I should have stepped back and said, what do you guys mean by that? My mistake. My head hurts. That sucked really hard. So is this, when people say effects run twice, is this what they're referring to? Because I was under the impression that those ran in the same band. Because if this is the actual effects run twice behavior, then that's really bad. Okay, where is, okay, new instance. Okay, this is what I thought it meant. This is what I expected when I heard effects run twice. Notice how both of these are running in my questions.tsx. They're not running in the VM. They're not running outside of React. They exist in the same runtime as everything else. Like theoretically, let x equal 0, x plus plus x. This should log 1 then 2. Yes, because the hook ran twice. The effect ran twice, and this is my understanding. This is a mount, unmount, mount. That's what happened here. But since it's the same JavaScript runtime, this is the same instance, that's valid. What I don't think is going to work, and this is the ultimate test here of how fucked is React 18. Let binding count equal 0. And not in here, in this guy, I want to creating with ID, temp ID, binding count, binding count. I'm expecting this to say 1 I have to plus plus it actually. Binding count plus plus. I was thinking this to say one twice. One, two. Why? How? How? So dumb. Let today be known as the day where Theo reconsiders his choices and looks at Solid with longing eyes. I hate everything. The problem with this is that it's not JavaScript. Why would I move to Svelte, which is even more not JavaScript? I'm not muted. I'm just far back, so I'm quiet. Yeah. It did log 1, 2. Sorry if I was covering that with my camera. 1, and then below here, 2. Okay. That should do it for now. Uh, what I would like to do is not create this so it doesn't run in parallel. But it's technically just remaking the subscriptions in the background. Uh, you know, I bet this is the dumbest part. Oh, I know. This is about to be so fucking dirty. I'm gonna commit this quick because it's working. Okay. So I'm gonna undo those changes, put the client back in here. But I'm gonna do one thing differently. Killing the logs. I'll leave those so I know if it gets done twice. But what I need is whatever the return type of this is. Let store equals. I'm going to not do this here. I'm going to just return new store. Fuck you, React. Theo wins. Woo! There we go. You can't beat me, React. Nice try. And you'll see here, was this done twice? Runs once. And you'll see here, fuck you, React, I win, runs in the background. Ta-da! Winner. Zustan's supposed to be a singleton. They took away my singleton. I'm mad. The problem here is that Zustan's built to be used kind of as a singleton. The pusher, this pattern in particular, breaks that. What I could do here, are refs stable with this? Yeah, I think refs are stable. Const store equals use ref. Theoretically, this should work too. And I can kill that guy and this guy and this guy. And it appears that does the opposite of work. Does the ref really run more than one time? How? Yeah. How does one create a stable reference inside of React? useRef doesn't call a function that you pass it. useRef takes the value that you give it. There's no way that's going to work. Holy shit. This is the most I have been upset with React in a minute. Ryan, feel free to clip this whole stream and just put it on your homepage for solid, because Jesus Christ. Who said it wasn't a React issue? Let's talk. This is why I don't live code anymore. Yeah, this implementation of strict mode has some dumb gotchas. The thing here that is dumb is I want the ability to theoretically have multiple providers, each of which have their own session and manage it. I shouldn't have to worry about multiple instances of a component creating multiple instances of a thing. What they want me to do, and it's annoying to do due to the way I use Zustand, is clean up and remount. So if Zustand had a cleanup here, I could theoretically destroy the client and create a new one, but I don't really have a cleanup option in terms of how I defined this here, which makes this strategy not viable for React 18, which is incredibly fucking infuriating. I, yeah. I wrote this component in a way where I could theoretically render it multiple times. Now I had to undo that because React 18 is dumb. Yeah, I'm actually, Maple, you're touching on something I think about a lot. Put less stuff in components, but write components so that they could be self-contained. I need my components to contain things like their binding. If I have like three components, if I want to have three different question views open and each of those have their own, in this case, a Zustan pusher store, I want all of those to be able to open like next to each other and define their own instance a single time and not think about it too much. What I could do, and this is dumb, but I'm going to save this as working quick. I think I already did. Cool, I did. Store equals. Guess I'm just calling it once, so we'll do it that way. React.use effect. Console.log. Cleanup. That really shouldn't happen. Guess I need to return that in this. Yoink. Yoink. I think there's a kill all on pusher. And just disconnect. And now if I delete, I guess I don't need to delete that one. Oh, I need to actually use this store. If I delete that, then that guy. If I did that right, I did not do that right. Does that mean that the instance being passed here is not the instance being used here? Oh, this is running every time. That's why. Maybe. God, I hate use effect. Nope. What the fuck? Gonna go disable the pusher logs because they're noisy as hell. Cleanup that really shouldn't happen. New instance 2. I am Does he use ref maybe? I next person to ask if it's because I have multiple tabs open, you're getting kicked. Sorry, bud. The crazy thing here is only 2 instances are being created. It makes no sense that there's 3 in there. I do need it to happen inside of a component. I want to be able to mount 2 pusher providers and have both of them have their own stores and work. The problem here is the store that gets passed here is not the most up-to-date store. This reference that this binding is being created against gets stale. Window dot. So I think the quote correct way to do this now is what's the type of this? It's yeah, store or API. No, you don't put anything there. And that is the right way to do this in React now. Fuck. This is not essentially the memoized approach because if you bind something here, watch this. Here's what I'll do. What I want to do now is let x equal 0. Turn x. What will x be? 6. React isn't triggering one update. React's being really fucking stupid now. I was going to ask, but I forgot to. What did you guys think the highest X would be that comes out? Here, let's try use memo, because that's supposed to work, right? This should work, right? Still goes up to 2. Good question. What is UG? Yep. It's also 2. Let's make a quick demo component. I want to complain about this on Twitter. Const React 18 is bad. Cool. This looks very screenshotable. I'm going to go throw this in Pure and do my annual stream like post. I need to close my DMs. Pure is the code snippet. Twitter. It's Pure something, right? Oh, return X. Good call. Missed that. Isn't it Pure? Oh, Carbon. Thank you. Cool. That looks fine. I feel like this is gonna get shit. Be a little nicer. Does it really not have JSX? Okay, it does. Does it have TSX though? Even better. Cool. We'll go with that. Export. Do I add in the kind of want to add in the use state version? I'll do that next. Let's add. I already posted that. I can edit this to hell. Here's the link if y'all want to go share that with some friends and see if they can answer this correctly, because they probably can't, because this is really bad behavior. Hope that y'all are having some fun from me suffering immensely right now, because this sucks. This sucks hard. I want strict mode to be on at all times. That is something I don't want to compromise on. I want to learn and catch any theoretical bugs as soon as I can. Still dangling let X. Oh. Yeah, that's not the real code though. Let me put this back. Just realized y'all can't see my commit messages. That's half the fun. Gonna run my dev on the other side so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Cool. None of this was what I wanted to talk about today. Literally none of this. I'm gonna rename my title. At least someone got roasted and it wasn't me. Yeah, the multi-tab squad pissed me off a lot. Happy that we got around that. I did bookmark some 4Stream things, if I recall. Nothing new. Never mind. Thought I did. I'll be so surprised if anybody who wasn't watching gets this one right, because holy hell. It's all working fine now. I need to go update environment variables in Vercel still, I think. Let me see if prod is working or not. That looks like a no. Going to do some environment variable stuff. Give me one moment, y'all. V. Vent. DB. Oh, I didn't update that. Yep. Cool. Let's. I'll just trigger the redeploy by merging my PR. Cool. Well, this now has presence working. I should probably make the UI of the count of connected people less ugly. Let's do that fast. My questions. Question view. I'm putting that here. Let's put that above for now. See how much better it looks. Better enough to start. Currently connected. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this less than, I'm going to -1 on the count because it counts yourself. There. Now it'll only show if you have a connection open, which won't happen on the Q&A page. It's where I want it to, but for now, currently connected 1. Cool. Good enough. And with that, I can merge this and that will fix production because a new build will happen, which will have the new environment variables. The -1 is counting yourself. That's not a double count thing that I put there. The -1 here is because you count as a user, and I only want that to come up when you have an embed connected. I don't think what else I wanted to cover. Try 2+ connections? Why? This works. It's fine. Y'all are looking for edge cases that don't exist. How's this going? 7 seconds in. Okay, it's going to be a bit. Did we get any answers to this yet? Nope. Nobody has the balls. What a surprise. Can I quickly re-explain the project? Yes, actually, I should do that. So for those that don't know, z.t3.gg, when it's back up, will be a place that you can ask a streamer questions. So, hi, Theo. When you submit it, the new question will pop up here. And if I have... Oh, the embed's probably dead on stream. Yeah, let me refresh that in my overlay once prod comes up. But theoretically, I'll just open another tab. when you click on one to be visible, it becomes visible or invisible. And that will pop up on your stream. It's meant to be an easy way for a streamer to host a Q&A where chat or whoever posts questions and I can click ones to make them visible. How much time we got on this guy? Cool. It should be live again. Nice. So if I go refresh in my overlay, then I should now be able to Oh, I didn't update the environment variables for the new pusher shit. Fuck. Environment variables are the worst. I actually need to just learn Doppler or something because I never want to think about environment variables again. Did I just update the wrong thing? I did. Next public pusher app key. Okay. And now a redeploy should finally have everything working. I am Dialga, or Digia said, environment variables are nice. I should retract that. Have you ever dealt with the opposite? Appendix surgery is nice. Brain surgery is nice. Doesn't mean I want them. Doesn't mean I don't hope that they improve over time. Doppler is some way to manage environment variables. We tried it for a bit at Ping. It wasn't the best. Here, sync environment variables at scale. Yeah, might try it again, but I'm annoyed. Will production work now? No, it's still building. It's assigning the domain. Should be ready in a sec. And I can refresh it on stream. Studio mode, overlay, refresh. Theoretically. Yay! It appears on stream now. So I could be in like my cam only view and click, is it worth to convert a mono repo to use tRPC if you already have a separate and a front or back end? Depends on the problem you're solving. If the problem you're solving makes more sense to have a full stack back and front end together, then probably worth mono repoing it. If it doesn't, then don't use it. Is the web components API a failure? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Theoretically, if y'all ask new questions, I should immediately see them too, which is cool. So, ask away. I can share the link in chat again. Let me do that. There you go. Does the question page auto refresh? Doesn't auto refresh, but if you ask a question, it should auto appear because there's a WebSocket connection sending it through. I wanted this specifically to be a way to do anonymous questions. I could make it like less anonymized in the future, force you to sign in and stuff like that. But this is meant to be a really quick like example. Are hot dog sandwiches? That's a very good question. We're going to have to go a bit more in depth on that one. Cube rule. Very important. Let me hide that for now. I'll just open another one to hide it quick. So the cube rule is a food classification methodology that forever answers the question of, is a hot dog a sandwich? With a set of rules that are relatively simple. Identifying food by the surfaces covered relative to a cube. So one surface is toast, top bottom is sandwich, 3 left and right is taco, 4 is like in a like circular way like that is a sushi, 5 with like a seal on the bottom's a bowl, and all wrapped is calzone. This is for the location of starch in a given dish. So toast, pretty common. Things like pizza, nigiri sushi, pumpkin pie. Sandwiches are classics like quesadilla, stacked toast, sponge cake. Tacos, obviously this is where hot dog goes, as well as sub sandwiches and slice of pie. Sushi is falafel wrap, pigs in a blanket, enchiladas. Quiches include cheesecakes, soup bowls, or like bread bowl, soups, falafel. Then importantly, calzones, burritos, corn dogs, and pies. There's a bunch of others, dumplings, Pop-Tarts, Uncrustables. Salad, which is you have starch, but it's not in a shape, just a glob. Correct. Crazy how quickly y'all blew this up. I'm sad that I probably am blasting through my free tier on Pusher now. Really sad that I can't use Sockety for this. I was hyped on that. Sorry, lots of messages. Mostly caught up. Anyways, Sockety. Lol. A spam filter, yeah, probably. Eventually. Pusher versus Ably. Ably has the best API, but it's like broken in other dumb ways. I need to move the location of this. One sec. I need to find a better place to put the questions that I'm being asked. Overlay. Let's put it at the top. I like that. Cool. We'll do that for now. So thoughts on Pusher versus Ably. Pusher's API and SDK suck hard, but their service is reasonably priced and works. Ably's service fails all of the time in egregious, hilarious ways, and they refuse to acknowledge it often. And their SDK is good. Not great, but good. Their offerings, things like what they offer with Presence, is way more promising than what Pusher does. The way that allows a client to dynamically update what is contained within their presence is very powerful. We use it a lot at Ping, and it is a nightmare to get it all working and to rely on it. The other alternative is, right now at least, is LiveBlocks. They're newer. Let me hide this question quick. LiveBlocks has a very promising API. The examples they have here are hilariously compelling. Like const others equals use others, update my presence equals use update my presence, div on pointer move, update my presence, cursor, and you put in the location. Others.map, so that's the other people, connection ID, presence, and then you render their cursor based on the like data you have from presence. So presence.cursor is their X and Y location. Insane. They even have a Zustand example. So good. I want to use this, but yeah, they don't have sign in with GitHub, and their pricing sucks. The big thing is their pricing really like horrifyingly sucks. It's 10,000 connections a month on the $20 tier, which sounds great until you see that it's an additional 1 cent per extra connection. So if you have 20,000 connections instead of 10,000, that's $120 instead of $20. And that's not per message. You can send unlimited messages and unlimited rooms, unlimited updates, unlimited whatever, but you get 10K connections a month. I could blow through that in a stream. Unacceptable. I know I could run my own socket IO, but then I have to write my own presence. Like, do y'all know the difference between a WebSocket and a presence like entity? WebSockets are a protocol. It's like a way to send data from A to B with a connection maintained. Socket IO does a phenomenal job of giving you a way to make a socket connection. It does nothing else. You have to write your own state management. You have to write your own scaling solution, write your own methods to share things between instances. And you probably have to spin up multiple instances too. With something like LiveBlocks, Pusher, Ably, they manage the state for you. Yo, large data bank, thank you so much for the raid. Super appreciate that and the 35 friends that you brought along. We're here complaining about React 18, WebSocket providers, and just a lot of things. I'm in a complaining mood. Everything's fucking broken, so here we are. Regardless, fantastic to have you here. Thank you so much for stopping by. The app we're working on might be interesting to you, z.t3.gg. It's a way to create a embed on your stream and let people ask questions. When you click the little show button, it'll appear on the top of my screen. And I can hide it, switch to a different question, all with like a browser source in my OBS. So we just built this 2 days ago. I cleaned it up a bunch yesterday, and now I'm complaining about all the dumb things I ran into working on it now. So, yeah. Now it'll be easier for me to do like a formal Q&A section with like fancy view. Anyways, got a fun question from Maple. They're naive. How much of a lift is it to actually implement presence yourself? State. So, Excalibur draw time. Let's say I have a box. This is a server. We'll name this server 1. I have 2 users. These 2 users connect to server 1. And when they connect, I should probably like put them into a room in here. So we have a box on here. Then we have user 1 and user 2. And they can see each other because they're connected to the server. We have to implement on this server, or like what Socket.io gives you is this pipe and nothing else. So this pipe is a WebSocket between the user and the server. The pipe is the WebSocket. So what we have to manage on the server now is who's here and where they are. So you have to keep track of which socket associates to which user. If they send data up, we have to keep track of that data. So in this case, let's say this is like, I just realized I drew the number inside of it instead of in the normal way. 8, 2. We'll say 1 has some, it'll be easier to put these here. So these 2 users, they're connected to these 2 different instances, and these have metadata. So 2 has status, or I'll say online, and 1 is AFK. Now, like a third user could connect, request this info. They wouldn't even have to make a WebSocket connection to connect to the server and say, hey, who's in room 1 on server 1? All right, move all these down. Okay, I guess I have to do this manually. So we have room 1 on server 1. So this user can request how many people are in room 1, and they get back 2. What happens when we need to deploy a new server? Or we'll start with the more common problem. Let's say this server is full capacity. Server 1 has hit its maximum number of connections, and we need to make a new connection. Now we have server 2. And this user wants to connect to the same room as those guys. But that server is over provisioned. So when they connect to room 1 on this new server, they get an empty room. Which means now you have to build a way to synchronize these rooms between different servers. Which means we have to further abstract Redis. Because this is where the things actually happen. And now I need to synchronize this between the two. And this is the problem with building something like this. You end up having to manage and decentralize all of these and build the relationships between the Redis that synchronizes the different states across different servers. And you're going to have to do this eventually because you're eventually going to have to update your server. When you have to update your server, you're going to have to like do something to handle the people who are currently connected. This gets really frustrating really fast. Even if you just want the ability to deploy and update to your backend, you have to have some way of sharding, sharing state, and replicating that across instances, or things are going to break terribly. Yeah, even if the client has full control of the state, that state needs to be shared, and sharing that state between servers can get complex very fast. Why not just have them only talk to one person? Interesting, Griffith. I think you underestimate how expensive it is to build something like that and for a developer like us to maintain it. Since to us as developers, the cost of building something is free, that makes sense. But for me as a manager, you building WebSockets for the 2000th time is you not building something else that I'm paying you to work on. And as such, using Pusher, as annoying as it is, keeps us from running into whole categories of problems and keeps us from dealing with lots of time lost to scaling issues, to state desynchronization, and to all these other categories of problems that can be avoided by paying another service a little more money to host it for us. I do want to play with you, WebSocket. Seems more and more like it's time for a new company to shake up this space. WebSockets are in a shit state right now, and they're needed for so much stuff. And it feels like everybody's so obsessed with server rendering, we're losing track of live WebSockets and live updates. I'll admit I'm starting to run out of steam a bit. Use a message queue. What? What? Never mind. A message queue doesn't. Did y'all see the example on live blocks that I showed? The example is cursors. You're going to have a message queue with hundreds of cursor updates. I don't care about the history of the messages. I care about the contents of the most recent message. Somebody keeps saying comment chat. My concern is the chat thing. I don't care about chat, and I really don't care about UI kits. All I want is a WebSocket with some state on the other side. That's it. Not asking for a lot. Start with the pricing. Are you kidding? Who said comment chat? Because I want to kick them. Timeout, pie, or die. Did I spell that right? I did. You're getting a 10-minute timeout. Don't recommend more expensive shit when we're complaining about things being too expensive, especially when they're worse things. Cool. See you later. Sorry, I'm in a mood right now, but yeah, we're in a bit of a dictatorship here, y'all. Sorry, guys. This is my community, and I'll run it accordingly. It's just like, come on. Like how did someone recommend that in good faith? Like I have to assume that you work for them at that point. Like there's no other reason that would have come up. I wanted to talk about other things I did for Zapdos. What else did I do for Zapdos? Oh, that was a fun dumb thing I had to do for Zapdos. So I did optimistic client updates. So I made it. Not what I wanted to do. I wanted to have when you unpin a question or when you archive a question, I wanted it gone immediately. I don't want to wait on the change. So I have in here TCTX, which is the TRPC context. I just gave it a shit name quick. .query client, .set query data. This was the annoying part. I had to give it null as the second argument, or I couldn't access the query client, or I couldn't update it, because this is the key it uses when you query this query here, TRPC proxy questions get all. The key for that is questions.getAll, comma null. So I had to do this. It took a bit to figure that out. I actually had to use the React Query dev tools. I was quite annoyed when I figured it out, but I got that working. I filter out the thing that you archive, and it works. They're real saying to look at the Flutter rant comments. I've seen enough of them. They're pretty rough. Thoughts of something like Firestore. Honestly, good for you to have risked that. When I first started the project that I was doing here, I started with what's it called? Like when I started with Pusher in Railway, but I was 50-50 on starting it with Supabase specifically for that. The how do I put it? It feels like there's multiple different use cases for WebSockets. I'll go back to my use cases for WebSockets. Okay, zoom in. There we go. One really common one is sending messages live, i.e. chat messages. That's the one that Comet seems to exclusively care about. You also have synchronizing, say syncing persisted data on change, Supabase Firestore. Then you have syncing, I don't know how I would describe this, live data across clients, presence, live blocks. I wanted to call these out because I consider these entirely different use cases. Even if you can hijack certain ones and technologies built for certain ones to do other things. I would say Google Docs, it fits a tiny bit more in here, but it's a hybrid of these two. So like the Google Docs telling you who's currently in the editor would be this, but the actual changes to the doc would probably be more the middle one. So here's an example in Ping. If I go to PingGG and I join a call. So here's me in a call on Ping. We have an admin view, and this admin view uses presence to keep up to date on what settings you have selected, what camera device you chose, and lets me change these. Or if on this side I change to 480p, I go back, you'll see that this is different now because we're using presence, the live data from presence, to synchronize between these different places. That synchronization is not data I want to persist. I shouldn't have to write to a database to track which like settings a user has selected. The relationship there, the presence defined here, is not something that makes sense to put in a database. It exclusively fits under this third category. I find that this is something that Firestore and Supabase do very well, but it's not a use case I find myself needing very often. I actually needed this for the first time ever for a feature a few weeks ago at Ping, and it was frustrating to have picked something that doesn't have it, to have picked Planet Scale, because like Prisma has no real way to subscribe to a data entity to get updates when it changes. But almost everything we have done at Ping has been this problem for device management or this problem for messages when they come through. So to the question of, I hope this answers the question of why not Firebase. Like, that was a good question. In this case, I have not anywhere near properly explained the different WebSocket use cases prior. So good question. Thanks for asking. Actually, I'll go a little more. Oh, well, somebody's trying to join my call. Good for you. I will, I'm going to actually go a little deeper in this because I want to talk shit on Twitter. Okay. For chat only, we have that comment chat thing. For, I gotta make all these white actually. Also should make the font smaller for this to actually fit on my screen. Okay, there we go. In this section between here, I should make that a little easier to put things in because there's a few that fit here. Pusher. Ably. We have live blocks, Supabase, cool. Does this communicate why I'm annoyed? With syncing against Redis, no, Redis is a database. The live data is like device data. It's where my cursor is. Where is the location of my cursor being stored? I'm realizing I can redesign this a little bit better for a Twitter screenshot. Let me try that quick. Let me give examples of this. Cursor, location, user meta, user online status. How would I explain DB sync? Uh, Live updates on. Anybody have a really compelling case for something that like worked well with Supabase or Firestore with live updates that I could put here? Supabase real time has presence? What? Is this a product they offer? Huh? Is this like a thing I can use yet? Doesn't look like it's, oh, it's waitlisted. Yeah. It was April of this year, so it wasn't that long, or it was pretty long ago, and it's still not out. But yeah, this has a lot of the features that I'm discussing here. Listen to changes in a Postgres database and broadcast them over WebSockets. Yeah, this is still just the database sync. They're trying to add other things on top, but it's very focused on the database sync, it looks like. Notify. How does this look? This meaningfully communicate what's going on here? I guess I could put pubnub somewhere in here. I think pubnub's kind of trying to be all three. Oh, I can do, I'll add another layer of spice. DX power rankings. Zero to 10. Live block seems pretty high up there. Can't really comment on comment chat. Ably's okay. Pusher's pretty trash. I need to add pubnub somewhere in here. They do technically belong in this area. Pubnub. Pubnub's probably between these two. Supabase is pretty far up there. And Firestore is pretty medium. Cool. So the DX power rank. Let's do the reliability power rank. I'll be honest, Firestore is probably pretty high up here. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Fly blocks, I don't know. I'm gonna put the ones I don't honestly know up in a different section. I'll just put them in the side here for ones I'm not sure about. Firestore is pretty reliable. Supabase is fine. Ably's fucking trash reliability. I'm particularly pissed at them. Say Pusher's pretty high, and Pubnub. I've seen Pubnub do some stupid shit, but I'm not confident enough. And now, value per dollar. Ably's actually pretty solid value-wise. If they worked, it would be totally worth it. Pushers, okay, I'll use Pusher as the middle ground. I'll probably put Supabase pretty... what's Supabase's pricing looking like? 100K monthly active users. Does that include the live update stuff? If so, then that's fine, especially if they're not billing for it more on top. Supabase versus Pusher. Yeah, I'd say those are probably similar value. Live blocks, just fucking trash value-wise. Pubnub's too expensive too. I'll put it a little less far over. Oh, Firestore, no. Firestore's value for the dollar is bad. saw the question, what's the value of using third parties? Do you know how expensive it is to build your own solution? Like, if you as a developer are smart enough to build the whole WebSocket server that your company needs, you're building for 3 months or so to get that all just right. And you're probably making 200K a year. That's a $70,000 investment that company has to make, at least, for you to make something that might work. And now you have to maintain it as well. Especially with something like Vercel. Do you know how expensive it is to properly set up deployments on AWS for serverless functions with the build and CI that will take the static assets and deploy them across a CDN whenever somebody merges main? You can do it. You can absolutely do it, but it's expensive. The key is to understand the cost of adopting one of these things and the cost that it saves you longer term. Yeah, I think that these services are essential, and they're a huge part of why there are so many startups doing so well, because you don't have to hire 500 engineers to build a Twitter clone. You could just build the Twitter clone. I was able to build a whole AMA app myself using other services that will scale infinitely and not have to think about it. I Primogen's catchphrase is blazingly fast. I think I'm going to do my own infinite scale. I think that's how I'm going to start pitching my way of doing things, because that's the one thing I don't compromise. I don't like picking solutions that can't scale theoretically infinitely. Like AWS has to go down before my services go down. Yeah. Another thing that Frog pointed out is I want to focus on delivering value to my customers, not building all of these crazy infrastructure solutions. After 30 years, you disagree, build as much as possible. Well, there's a reason you've been building for 30 years and haven't shipped too much. Sorry. I think I'm going to put this one on Twitter quick. I just realized I did this. I did that right. Copy as PNG. Bonus round. Do I tag all the companies? I'm doing it. Think I touched that or all of them. Well, that'll go well. Feel free to spam that one around. I didn't get to like any of the things I wanted to talk about, and I don't know if any of this is going to be good enough content for YouTube. I should probably squeeze out one more like editable rant. I guess this one's solid in terms of like WebSockets are in a rough state. I could see this being a video. My cat's gonna break down the fucking door. I already got a banger response to the tweet. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. I got Abramoved. Wow. What? What? How? Action. I I have to think a lot on this one. I I don't necessarily agree with his framing of this as correct. In this instance, I am creating a variable outside of React, but that isn't always the case. And for use effect, I agree because use effect has a cleanup. This doesn't have a cleanup. Memos have no way to clean up. So its expectation of purity is ruined. And So the thing that I found incredibly unintuitive about this wasn't necessarily the external side effects. It was the behavior of those side effects internally on an app. Where in my question, no, it was in the stupid fucking pusher thing. Here. No, not the server side. I want the component. I know I have that in utils pusher. Cool. Here. The thing that was unintuitive was not necessarily, I committed that. Lol. Let's remove all that. The thing that was unintuitive was very specifically the relationship between the values I'm binding here, the function that creates them, the pusher store in this case, and a provider that I'm returning. Was there actually a bug in this code? Theoretically, yeah. But the bug was not because of... The bug was due to the unintuitive control flow that inherently exists now in React with renders not being stable. The possibility for a store to get here, like if the thing that was really unintuitive, even if multiple stores are being created. So if I was to, do I just comment this out and do it that way? Yeah. Okay. Const store equals react.use memo. Here. If each store was numbered, we have store 1 on the first render and store 2 on the second render. The pusher's usstand store provider gets store 1, even though it's not the most recent store. The thing here that's unintuitive is the value being passed here, the function being handed to create store, isn't the store. Pusher's usstand store provider doesn't take a store, it takes a create function. This doesn't get rerun. If I was to, here, I'll prove this because I think it's an important point. That is why this sucks. And I might even clip this and post it on Twitter. The thing that sucks right here is console.log. This has run X times. I'll have a const or let store creation provider runs equal 0. And I will have in here turn this store creation runs. I'm just memo store runs. My expectation here with the chaos that I know is this will run twice. This will run once, which means that this is bound to an old version of the store. The mutating out of band thing is just to keep track of runs. Yep. That's exactly what I expected. Store binding in provider run X times. Here's the problem. Memo store runs 1. Store bindings and provider 1. Wait, it runs that twice. Eh? Is this not the one that I have access to? I just want to know which store the React app's actually using. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to run twice. You can't use ref for this now. I can, I'll switch this to use ref. I'll just call the function. Still runs that twice. Oh shit, we just got a huge raid. Thank you, Coding Garden. Really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. We're just here bitching about React 18. I am more and more unhappy with the new behaviors. It's made my life a lot harder than I expected. I did not expect these. I did not expect a reference binding to run twice. There's nothing to show in the pusher provider. It's the provider being provided by Zustand. It's empty. A use ref getting called twice should not have happened in 18 or in 16, as far as I know. Not trivial for me to test that. I can go code sandbox it. Let's try that fast, actually. Does that really run twice? Huh. I'm not crazy, right? Nobody else knew this has always been the behavior in React because I had no idea. This is React 16.8. Yeah, I guess if R already exists, if R not equal -1, return R. Oh, it's not R, it's E. Oh, r.current, I guess, is what I'd want to use. No? Can't access, no, because I guess it's technically being initialized there. That's annoying. Okay, my own React knowledge is being challenged right now. I want this external dependency E to not necessarily be external, but be internal, such that it's only being instantiated once, or in this case, being changed once. I'll let e equal null. If e does not equal null, return e. Now, this is... Okay, so it seems like their recommendation is dumb, but we'll do it that way. Let r is null. React.use effect. If r dot current is null, r dot current equals 0. Refresh. Oh, that will never run because this never, yeah. Huh? That should work. I am so confused. Yo, Skirt, what's good? Good to see you here, man. Been a minute. I'm a real streamer now. Really thought that would do it. I'm trying to think of like the actual genuine best way to do this. It has to be the use state and the use effect stupid thing I did before. Like, as dumb as it is, I'm gonna git stash. Like, this is the right way to do it now. You create a use state with no value in it. You set the like value of the store on an effect and you disconnect later. I guess what else I could do here, I'm actually curious if this works. If store no, because now the cleanup's on. Oh god. Do I need to set it to a ref and a stateful value? What I have here is right, but what I want is to not do this unless it's a real unmount, which sucks because there's no way to determine that anymore. Like, so in the example I was just doing, I didn't expect it to re-render. I expected it to render correct because layout effect happens before render. Okay, you said haha after, so you get off with a warning, Dr. Sammy. I have a new solution. Export or just const use functioning use state. Or you use actually define once. This will take, do I pass it a value or do I just, yeah. This returns T, void. This is init, and this is cleanup. I will yoink this guy. Oh no, the cleanup function is going to be unstable. Fuck. So close, but so far. I wanted to make a generic to do this, but this is going to rerun when it shouldn't. I'm going to try it this way quick. It's not going to work, but. And I know why it's not going to work, which sucks. Wrong button. So the problem here is this guy's going to run over and over again because these aren't stable references. So that use effect's going to fire a whole bunch. So if I console.log firing the bind effect. Oh, look at that. I locked the tab because it's infinite looping. Great. So what we have to do is define these ahead of time. If use event existed, this would be a lot easier. I can inline use callback. That's probably the best bet. No, I guess somebody else is still connected somewhere else. Oh, it's my embed is still connected. That's why there's two. There actually should be two. Yeah, this worked. Can anybody defend this being necessary? Because what the fuck? Holy shit, that was bad. Like, Yeah, I think I'm done here. I've made my points. I'm pissed off. React 18's render patterns are kind of bad. Didn't I publish the wrong function call? What the fuck are you talking about, Zach? I just renamed it use define with cleanup. Whatever. Use memo with cleanup, use define with cleanup, whatever. Same difference. I didn't rename in the actual code because I don't. Oh, I didn't rename it in there. Fuck. Deleting and reposting, I guess. So Maple said something interesting, which is that the problem here is the connection is occurring on store construction. So that naturally means it should be in a use effect, right? I don't agree with that. I think that instantiation inherently can have side effects. Like there are lots of things you can instantiate that don't, but there are many that inherently do. And having a cleanup built into stable instantiation functionality would be very useful. I Ribber made a good point, which is that the second callback could be static and defined externally in this case. I don't know if that's always the case though. It's tempting to make that a ref. Yes, I not only did I read Dan's replies, I replied to them. There's a take I've seen a few times now. The feeling that things that need cleanup should always go in use effect. I I had to keep thinking on this one because I don't agree. I think it is. Yeah, I think I just need to think more on this one. I'm struggling to find the words, but I fundamentally disagree. I think that a a variable being created and having a cleanup, like the term side effect is loaded. I think it's unfairly loaded in this case. Like the creation of that thing is only side effecty because it's erroneously running multiple times. If that side effect could be contained as a direct effect by relating those two, I don't see this as a side effect. I see this as a direct expectation of the instantiation. The erroneous thing here isn't that the client is connected, it's that the client is instantiated twice. And because of that, the instantiation is the thing that needs a cleanup, not the effect of the instantiation. Yeah, I'm standing behind that one. I fundamentally disagree. The reason that connection is a side effect is because of React instantiating twice. I shouldn't have to instantiate and then do another thing and then undo the other thing and then do the thing again, especially if I have to instantiate twice anyways. Could this be triggered from an event handler instead of a hook? I wish. The only way I could do that is with a button that you click that sets state to connected, which honestly, I think we're going to see more and more of because of this change. My example of use memo with cleanup's a good example. No, it's a terrible example. It's horrible that that has to exist. I feel bad that I wrote that code. Let me rewrite this quick to make the sample easier for Dan. Okay, use actually define once some component. Don't care about any of this. External val equal -1. Const get external val equals this doesn't feel right. If it started at 0, it would work. Actually, let's do that. Let me go drop this in that code sandbox quick. Oh, it expects. This isn't even TypeScript. Fucking Christ. Murphy. My cat's trying to break down the goddamn door. I'm gonna go insane. This has been one of the least fun streams I have ever done by like orders of magnitude. How do I make this fucking button go away? There we go. Cool. I made it work. Can y'all give me a quick, like, I'm not fucking insane sanity check here? Like, theoretically, like, the thing I'm asking for is not too complex. This is what I want. Make this a little more visible. Change this to init is t. That'll type error, but I don't care. This should now be right. That's not needed anymore. Like, this is what I want. Where whatever you give it here is the type here, and I have a cleanup. This is what I want. This feels entirely doable and almost necessary at this point. What isn't pure about this? Like the impurity exists within the get external val specifically, right? Not in the pattern itself. Yeah, then this is a fine pattern. Like impurity exists outside of React, and building all of React's primitives with the assumption that React or that everything is. Yeah, the store being initially undefined is the shittiest part of this for sure. Yeah, this feels so stupid. God, my head hurts a lot. I think I'm gonna call it here and go be grumpy somewhere else. Yeah, I fucking hated this stream. Thank you all for coming by. I do appreciate it. Sorry, I was just complaining the whole time. I'm gonna undo this. I'm not screen sharing. I'm undoing some of the changes I made so that this is in a better state when someone else tries to dive in. Just call back. Cool. Now that's in the workable state again. Cool. This is in a state now where I feel less bad that I just linked it to Dan. Let's find someone to raid. Any homies live? Y'all want to watch some American Truck Simulator with Kisa? That could be fun. Kisa's the homie. Good friend. Currently loading, so y'all will be joining right at the beginning of what should be a pretty fun stream. See y'all over there. Yo, thank you for the gift subs. Also, thank you everybody who subbed. Sorry I've been like entirely missing and shitty all stream. This was a rough one for me. I owe y'all immensely. Thank you guys for stopping by and being part of this regardless. I do appreciate every single one of you. I'm tired. Thank you guys all again. Love y'all immensely. See you next week. Really fun show on Wednesday, actually. Make sure you're here for the Wednesday show. I'm going to have Automated, who's a legendary web developer, technology guru that's been building things for streamers forever now. So should be a fun one. Really excited for that. See y'all next week. Peace, guys.